dear students, welcome back to our history class. Today, once again I am here to talk with you about a new lesson. So dear friends, as you know that in the previous lesson that India during the Maurya period, we learned about the Chandragupta Maurya, who was the founder of Maurya Empire. Then we learn about Emperor Ashoka. We also came to know about Kalinga War and what happened after the Kalinga War. That all we learn into the last lesson. So today we have to learn a new lesson, namely states after the Maurya Empire. So now we have to see the states which came to exist after Maurya Empire, means when Maurya Empire declined. So after that, new powers came to exist, new states came to power. So that all we have to learn in this lesson. So that's why our lesson name is States After the Maurya Empire. So students, in this lesson, we will learn the Shunga dynasty, Indo-Greek kings, Kushan kings, the Gupta dynasty, the Vardhan dynasty, and the powers in Northeast India. So students, first we will see the Shunga dynasty. It is the new power which came to rule after the decline of Maurya Empire. So students, I want to tell you that, as you know, Emperor Ashoka was one of the most powerful ruler of the Maurya Empire. You also learn about the Chandragupta Maurya, then Bindusar, and after Emperor Ashoka. So during Chandragupta Maurya's period or Emperor Ashoka's period, the Maurya Empire expanded. That also we learn. So after the Emperor Ashoka, the Maurya Empire started to decline. Means after the Emperor Ashoka, the Maurya Empire began to be weak, because there was not such a capable or powerful ruler to rule over the Maurya Empire like Chandragupta Maurya or Emperor Ashoka. So therefore, Maurya Empire started to decline. Brihadratha was the last ruler of the Maurya Empire. So Brihadratha was not able to rule the Maurya Empire as compared to previous rulers. He was not capable to manage the affairs of his kingdom. The Maurya Empire was missing capable rulers like Chandragupta Maurya or Emperor Ashoka. And in the period of Brihadratha, there was indiscipline throughout his kingdom. He was not able to solve these issues. And due to such weak condition, his general of army, namely Pushyamitra Shunga, Pushyamitra Shunga was the general of army of the Brihadratha, and Pushyamitra Shunga took the advantage of this situation. He took the advantage of the weakness of the ruler, that is Brihadratha, and by taking this advantage, he revolted, he rebelled against the Brihadratha. Not only he rebelled, even he killed two Brihadratha, and after that he declared himself the ruler of new kingdom, and in this way he established his own the Shunga dynasty, and he came to know as the ruler of the Shunga dynasty or the founder of the Shunga kingdom. So students, now we have to move towards the Indo-Greek kings. So students, during this period there were several small kingdoms ruled by Greek kings to the northwest of the Indian subcontinent. Means in the northwest of the Indian subcontinent, Greek kings were in power and they established small kingdoms. And these kings are known as Indo-Greek kings. Students, as you know that in previous lesson we learned Alexander the Great, who was a Greek emperor, he invaded to India from northwestern side. That northwestern side, the Indo-Greek kings established their own kingdoms and they were ruling there. So such kings are known as Indo-Greek kings. So students, in the history of the coins of ancient India, Greek coins are very famous. Means in the history of the coins of ancient India, Greek coins occupied an important place because of their features or characteristics. So already in previous lesson we learned the characteristics of the Greek coins, that is the Greek king who was minting the coins, so they were putting their own image with their name on the one side of the coin, and on another side of the coin they were putting the image of Greek god. So these characteristics we already learned into previous lesson, and due to this the Greek coins are very important into the history of coins of ancient India. So this tradition later took roots in India. Means many Indian kings also follow this tradition. It means that they also started to put their own image and name on one side of the coin, and another side they were putting their deity's image. So students, now we have to see about the Indo-Greek kings. So Indo-Greek kings is what that already we have learned. So there was one of the famous Indo-Greek king whose name was Menander. Menander was a famous Indo-Greek king. Menander was also known as Milin. So we have to learn about the Menander. He discussed about the Buddhist philosophy with the Buddhist bhikkhu whose name was Naksen. Naksen is the name of Buddhist bhikkhu with whom the Menander discussed about the Buddhist philosophy. The discussion which took place between the Menander and the Buddhist bhikkhu, that is Naksen, this discussion led the creation of a book, that is Milind Panha. Panha is a Pali word. Panha is a Pali word which means that question. So the book's name we can say in our language, that is Milind's Questions. So students, in this way we also learn about the Indo-Greek kings. Students, on your screen you can see the picture of Greek coins. So students, now we have to see about the Kushan kings. So students, as I told you that India was invaded from time to time by several tribes. Means in ancient time our India was invaded by different tribes. So Kushan kings were also from such a tribe. Means the Kushan kings also invaded India, and they came to India from Central Asia. So the Kushans came from Central Asia and they established their rule in the northwest region and in Kashmir. Means when they invaded India, so they established their kingdom into northwest region and in our Kashmir. Kashmir is one of the famous state of our India. So in Kashmir also the Kushan kings were established their rule around the 1st century CE. Means in 1st century Kushan kings established their rule into Kashmir. Okay. Second thing we have to know about the Kushan kings, that they started new tradition in the sense of coins. So we have to know that Kushan kings are the first kings who started minting of gold coins. Up to now, whatever coins were minted, so they were made up of copper or silver. But Kushan coins were made up of gold. So we can say Kushan kings are the first who started minting of golden coins. Second thing we have to know that the Kushan kings started to put the image of Lord Gautam Buddha, and on the another side of the coin they were putting the picture of different Indian deities. So students, this is the difference between the Kushan's coin and the Greek coins. In Greek coins the king were putting their own image with their name, but Kushan kings started to put the picture of Lord Gautam Buddha. Means one side of the coin was occupied by the image of Gautam Buddha, and another side of the coin was occupied by the images of different Indian deities. So students, this is the difference between the Greek coins and Kushan coins. Okay, so I hope you understand the difference between these coins. So students, now we have to see about the Emperor Kanishka. Emperor Kanishka was one of the famous ruler from Kushan kings. So Emperor Kanishka's kingdom were extended from west to east. Second thing, in his period, gold and copper coins also minted, because the evidences found in North India. Means though they started minting of gold coins, but copper coins were exist during the period of Kushan kings. And one of the most important thing we have to mind that the 4th Buddhist council was held during the Emperor Kanishka's period at Kashmir. 4th Buddhist council was held at Kashmir during Emperor Kanishka period. Emperor Kanishka established the city, namely Kanishkapur, in Kashmir. But nowadays the Kanishkapur is known as Kanpur, and this Kanpur is situated near Srinagar. And as you know, Srinagar is the capital of the Jammu and Kashmir. So near the Srinagar, the Kanpur village is there, which was established by Emperor Kanishka. At that time, this village was known as Kanishkapur, and now it got name, that is Kanpur. Again, one important thing we have to know about Emperor Kanishka, that in the Emperor Kanishka's court there was a famous poet whose name was Ashwaghosh, and Ashwaghosh wrote 2 famous books, namely Buddha Charitra and Vajra Suchi. These are the 2 books written by the Ashwaghosh, who was a poet at the court of Emperor Kanishka. Second thing, in Emperor Kanishka's court there was a famous Vaidya, namely Charak. Vaidya means physician. So there was a famous Vaidya whose name was Charan. So students, in this way we learn about the Kushan kings and we also came to know about Emperor Kanishka. So in this way today we learn the Shunga dynasty, the Indo-Greek kings and the Kushan kings as well as Emperor Kanishka. So students, I hope you understand this very well. Thank you.